I'm dealing with a conflict here in real time. Religion is slowly drawing me in. I mean, it's attempting. It's almost like it has this effortless pull. And I am comfortable where I am now in my religious belief, or where I am in terms of spiritual beliefs, is that yes, I know that there is source energy. And source energy is the rawest way of explaining what many people call God. So I believe that there is God. I believe in God and the existence of that entity. First of all, I think it's probably more female than male self. But I don't think it has a gender. I think it's an entity. But if I were to bet on what energy it is, I'd say it's feminine. It only makes sense now. How mothers, women, and then all of a sudden the one that bettered us all, the creator of all things, is now a man. It just doesn't, align for that reason, sha. So yeah, I believe there is God. But then the thing is, Christianity is the thing. I grew up Christian, Anglican. All my life, Sunday was for church. Wear your good clothes, go to church. My dad used to work at 7-Up, and so we had this luxury of every Sunday we get to drink mineral. Yeah, every Sunday with our rice lunch, we get to drink a bottle of mineral. So that made Sunday very exciting. You had school friends and then you had church friends. And then there were many people that I knew, plenty of acquaintances from church, just not friends as in school. But also, that was because our routine, it was come to church, and we rarely ever made it to church like early, like before the service starts. Rarely ever. We always come in on time or when one phase of service had already started. So there was no time to make church friends, so to speak. So it was me, my parents, or my family, and God, I guess, and the church. And after church as well, everybody had to go and convene at the car and then we'd go home. So unless daddy had this meeting, or this after church talk that fathers used to talk now, those types of stuff, most time I've just spent time with my brother and my sister. But in my constant desire to question things, I started to develop a strong sense of conscience, and I started to question things that I didn't understand. But one of the things that led me to question, I think, was me going to secondary school, boarding school in Kaduna. In 2006, my mother died. And 2 years later, 2008, I needed to go into JS1. So it only made sense for my father that all these children who are young, I was 10 at the time. My older sister was 14. She was already in boarding school. And so it only made sense now that my dad is a single parent for him to send the children in secondary school to boarding school so that he can have some time. But the boarding school they sent me to was Adventist College in Kujama, in Kaduna State. In Adventist College, the school itself was a missionary school, a new one. We were going to be their first set. That was where I went to school. Now, the Adventist church, if you don't know, are the Sabbath people. They go to church on Saturdays. And see me, 10-year-old in JS1, enjoyed going to church on Sunday all my life. And then I had to settle into this boarding school routine where Saturday was for church. And then we did Saturday stuff on Sunday, like laundry and labor. And then on Monday, we started school again. And I needed justification for this, but everybody was so convinced because the majority of the students were Adventists, basically. They went to church on Saturdays on a normal day. The school is an extension of the church, and so it is members of that church that brought their children to that school. So many of my friends were Adventists, and they called us Sunday worshippers. So it was a weird kind of minority to be because I didn't even know there was such thing as a minority within the religion. It was, and then I started to wonder, exactly why do you guys go to church on Saturdays? I wish this episode was a bit less spontaneous and I would have explained it to you by going to do my own research, because all I know is that I have been convinced about it being Saturday. It is the truth. The calendar as it is, I think they predated the basis of church worship, God worship being on Saturday was linked to Jesus' resurrection. Jesus' resurrection. And it is from that date that they had been counting to know that, this celebration, this resting day of God was actually on a Saturday based on our current calendar. And then they now give you insight as to the origin of the current calendar. So you see that it now, the Adventist own basis predates the Sunday calendar and the Sunday worship. And then Sunday worship was now the issue of Sunday worship was basically that it was government passed. It had nothing to do with correctness or history. And I was convinced by that. As another point they always used also was Good Friday. If Good Friday was the day, how did they put it safe? But it was the day before Sabbath that is Good Friday. So if Good Friday is Friday, then Sabbath is Saturday now. I think this is something that everybody already kind of knows. But having those two ideas in my mind of never knowing the history behind my Sunday worship all this time and just going with the flow, and now seeing new information that debunks what I've believed all my life, made me realize that many things are not what they seem. Many things are constructs, and many things need to be deconstructed by the people within that construct so that they can by themselves form a spine. And then from that spine, they can begin to attach their identities to things that are compatible. And that is where that was born. And I remember coming back home to even tell my decision. I came to tell my one day, I just told my dad, we're not supposed to be going to church on Saturday, on Sunday. It should be Saturday. I can't remember how he was not impressed though. He was like, I sent you to school. He said something along the lines of, I sent you to school to go and learn, not to come back and be challenging me and be arguing. That kind of stuff. And I understand, in adulthood, I now understand. Imagine paying money for your child to go to school, only for him to come back home. And it's not as if he's pulling down trees in the school academically. He's not coming back home to challenge your own fundamental beliefs. My father has been going to church Sunday all his life. He didn't pay for this. He didn't intend to pay for this trouble. And so I decided not to have that argument with anybody anymore. I was convinced about it, and I kept the conviction to myself. Now, I need feedback. If I'm going to put this episode out, then I do need feedback. If you've gone to do some research to actually prove one way or the other, then let me know. Let the group know. Put it in the discussion group. Let's know. Please do some research. I'm counting on you, Mide. If I use the people in the discussion group, I'm counting on you guys to bring back some research, or let's see where you stand on this whole Saturday, Sunday worship thing. Now, lately, coming back to present day, I've met a lot of people, especially girls. Almost everybody unanimously has this conviction about Christianity. They all believe, everybody's a believer. Now, I'm thinking it's this new wave thing where people just find themselves by finding God and they just attach themselves to that and then just run with it. So this is why all of them are so convinced. Because up until this moment that I'm recording this thing, I have not found a logical argument that proves Christianity as the right religion or as the right way to go spiritually. I've not found a logical argument that proves that right to me. All I see is evidence of people, even billionaires I follow online, being very, very passionate about Christianity, about Jesus. Imagine, one of the billionaires I admire is PBD, Patrick Bet David. And he's very, very open and passionate about his faith. And a lot of popular people you see, I'm like, what is it? Is it that maybe, I don't like to think of it like this, that maybe those who don't think deep enough into the universe or the secrets of the universe, or they've not asked these questions to the point where they got the answer that I've gotten that has made me deconstruct totally and not ever want to come back. You know, maybe they didn't do it up to that moment. Maybe they don't know what I know. Maybe they did know what I know, then they think differently. But they seem okay and fine. I want to be a billionaire. And this guy's already a billionaire. And he seems peaceful and loves the fact that he loves Jesus. And he seems like he's doing life correctly. So, should I just... But it's going to now feel like pretense. Now, like I said, even if it's drawing me back slowly, I'm trying to struggle between, is it drawing me back because that is the right thing? Or is just my environment affecting me so badly? It's just my environment affecting me so badly. And I'm struggling to shake it off. Because like I said, logically, the Christian religion is not the thing for me. The way it's been practiced, okay, now I went to church last week Sunday for the first time in a very long time. And I enjoyed the service. Even inside the service, I did not still agree with one or two things. Like one scripture where they say they are launching in. I discussed this thing with Enya. Like one scripture where they said they are the children of Israel, the rich people were those that the wall of Jericho fell and they entered the city and destroyed everything, old and young, women and children. And I'm like, but God is supposed to love all of us, that you say love me too, and created everybody. And there's always room for forgiveness and what. It's still him that favored certain people to go into somewhere and massacre both women and children. It's like saying bandits that go to Yeluata and massacre everybody there. Amongst them, there could be somebody now writing that story and saying, this is what God has said, and God has given them Yeluata, blah, 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 blah. Then 30 years from now, it's inside the religious text that half the world is using. This is the dissonance I get, that I cannot fully conform to a religion that has that book as this basis. But why is there still that pull? Probably the environment, but maybe something also deeper. Maybe that is the truth. Maybe behind whatever I think I know or have found out is still, is still that truth that I need to get to. Okay, can somebody lead me there? With logic, because God did not give me logic to fucking split my head in half in trying to answer the question. Logic works in answering all life's questions. Why does it not work for this one? In fact, why does it work against the current system? Why does logic work? It should have been neutral. Why does logic work against the current system then? Why does the Bible now contradict itself? And he said the Bible doesn't contradict itself. And as she said that, as I read it, in real time, I was like, I can't even find a contradiction off the top of my head now. But people who are more passionate about it may find. Like, for example, how harsh God of the Old Testament was. And then the one that Jesus is talking about seems like this all-loving guy. Seems like he's not the same person. But also, religions that we don't agree with have the Old Testament plastered all over them. So is that all of them worship the same God at one point in time, and then we be devoted to another God at some point in time in the new book? So why did we now still keep the old book then? So there are certain questions that not even just me, people who are even atheists. I have a friend that is just totally atheist. I'll try to get him and Enya to have a conversation, and we'll put it on our podcast, Enya's and mine. My friend Kevin has these questions, even deeper, much more insightful ones that I think would challenge Christianity a lot. And so I'd like to hear him ask those questions to somebody who may provide the answers. But honestly, I know many of you listening to this may be deep into one religion or the other. And I've seen the happiness that religion, especially church, brings to people. That community of worship, the connection to a higher being that you get in whatever way you believe it to be. My one is, I don't want to be cheated. I don't want somebody using my head and things like that. That's the thing that I'm against. If you get one of those intangible things that money cannot buy, like community, like a feeling of love, sense of belonging. If those things that money cannot buy, this religion gives it to you. It's probably a fair trade for, anything else. Honestly, I really think about it like that. It's why I've stopped trying to people canvass against Christianity and say people shouldn't go to church because it's not right. I used to be there before, but I'm not there right now. I wish I could have that, but I can't pretend it. It has to be real, and I'm not there yet.